Trump team looking at ways to limit the power of DNI. President-elect Donald Trump is looking at possible ways to limit the power of the Director of National Intelligence, according to sources close to the transition. The thinking within the Trump transition team is that the DNI often gets in the way of the 16 intelligence agencies it represents, which includes the CIA. Trump has been a harsh critic of U.S. intelligence agencies. He has been skeptical of the U.S. intelligence community, saying Russia was behind the hacking meant to influence the outcome of the 2016 election. The possible move was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. Trump derides intel briefing on so-called Russian hacking. Trump is also considering expanding the CIA's human spying capabilities, but wants an assessment once new intelligence leadership is in place. According to sources close to the transition, there has been building criticism among conservatives that the CIA under President Barack Obama has been too reliant on electronic spying and the NSA's signals intelligence. Trump seemingly taunted the U.S. intelligence agencies who are supposed to brief him on alleged Russian hacking via Twitter on Tuesday. He suggested that intelligence officials postponed an intelligence briefing on so-called Russian hacking that they were set to deliver to him this week because they might need more time to build a case. He called the alleged delay very strange. U.S. intelligence officials disputed Trump's tweet, saying the meeting was not set to take place until later in the week. Rep. Adam Schiff, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, warned curbing the DNI's power will diminish its effectiveness and reverse many of the important gains we had made since 9/11. It is appropriately staffed and resourced, he said in a statement Wednesday night. Moreover, to propose changing the CIA's operational structure because of loose allegations of politicization, claims based on nothing more than the agency's willingness to contradict the president-elect's preferred version of events, would be a mistake of the highest order. One source said that retired Lt. Gen. Michael Flynn, Trump's pick for National Security Advisor, has pushed the idea of reining in the DNI. Flynn was pushed out as director of the Defense Intelligence Agency in 2014, which falls under the DNI's leadership. Flynn clashed with other intelligence officials, including his bosses Mike Vickers, the Pentagon's Undersecretary for Intelligence, and DNI James Clapper. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence was created in 2004 to help coordinate intelligence between the different agencies as a response to the September 11 terrorist attacks. The DNI rolled out a reorganization in 2015 that focused on giving more focus to field offices and intel gathering, grouping analysis and gathering in field hubs, for instance. Invite you to view more of the Time newsletters. Trump's fight with America's spies. President-elect Donald Trump's feud with the intelligence community is taking on surreal overtones just over 2 weeks before his inauguration, raising the potential of unusual tension with the nation's top spies when he moves into the White House. Unless he changes course, Trump will take office having invested more credibility in the views of Russian President Vladimir Putin and WikiLeaks fugitive Julian Assange than in leading U.S. intelligence agencies. His dismissal of assessments by U.S. analysts that Russia meddled in November's election has already soured his ties with America's leading espionage agencies. But his move Wednesday to invoke Assange, who has spilled some of the nation's most closely held secrets, to raise questions about Russia's influence in American politics, could poison his relations with rank-and-file intelligence operatives along with some leading Republicans on Capitol Hill. The clash is ultimately a battle of wits between Trump, who never likes to admit he is wrong, and intelligence agencies that insist they have the evidence to back up their conclusions about the Kremlin's alleged election operation. This is a power struggle like we have never seen before between an incoming president and the intelligence community, Rod Beckstrom, former head of the National Cybersecurity Center, told CNN's Brooke Baldwin Wednesday on Newsroom. In this case, Trump is making very clear from day one, I am the leader here. Sit down and listen to me. He's putting the intelligence community in an extremely difficult position. Extraordinary decision. Trump's decision to cite Assange was extraordinary. While he is viewed in some quarters of the world as heroic whistleblower, Assange is wanted in Washington over the publication of hundreds of thousands of documents related to the Iraq War and classified embassy cables. Some U.S. officials believe his disclosures endangered U.S. troops serving the field. He has holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London since 2012 and returned to prominence Tuesday evening when an interview with Fox News' Sean Hannity, one of Trump's biggest media backers, aired. Assange's entire philosophy is to undermine U.S. and allied governments. That's what makes it so stunning that an incoming American president would go out of his way to cite him as a credible source. Trump could hardly have cited a more radioactive figure had he been intending to insult U.S. intelligence and State Department personnel who are left to deal with the fallout of one of the biggest leaks of classified intelligence ever. It's a sad day when politicians place more stock in Vladimir Putin and Julian Assange than in the Americans who risk their lives daily to provide objective, nonpartisan intelligence analysis. Those views are shared by many Republicans. In Julian Assange's world, we're the bad guys, South Carolina Sen. Lindsey Graham told CNN Wednesday. Not the Iranians, not the Russians, not the North Koreans. He added, you've got to remember who this guy is. Trump's series of tweets on WikiLeaks were not his only new swipe at U.S. spy chiefs. On Tuesday, he complained that a scheduled briefing he had requested on the alleged Russian hacking had been delayed until Friday. Perhaps more time needed to build a case. Very strange, Trump tweeted. Intelligence agency chiefs said the meeting with CIA Director John Brennan and James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, was never due to take place before Friday. Disconnect. The feud is already raising questions about how far the disconnect between the next president and the intelligence community, which is at the fulcrum of everything the U.S. government does in the world, could harm U.S. security. Let's stare this reality square in the face. U.S. is pro-Putin and believes Julian Assange over the Itzia. On January 20th we will be less safe, said George Little, a former CIA spokesman, on Twitter. Rep. Adam Schiff, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, said Trump's statements were alarming. That he would now cite people like Assange who have demonstrated universal hostility to the United States and its interests takes him into new and even more treacherous territory, he said in a statement. With every conspiracy theory-laden tweet and erratic off-the-cuff comment, the president-elect does damage to our national security, while raising new concerns about his capacity to grow into the job. Former House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Rogers, a Republican who is now a CNN analyst, said Trump needed to undergo a maturation process. He is going to need the CIA and the CIA is going to need him, he told CNN's Jim Squito on The Lead. Aides on Capitol Hill say GOP lawmakers are privately expressing disbelief and incredulity at Trump's continued insistence on believing Russia over the U.S. intelligence community. Everything they have seen points to Russian responsibility for election-related activity, the aides say, and add that Republicans hope Trump comes around. The estrangement between Trump and the CIA and other agencies represents an unorthodox strategy, even for Trump. One theory that might explain his behavior is his extreme sensitivity to any suggestion that his November election triumph was not legitimate. He appears to view debate about Russia roll through that prism, and his aides have repeatedly tried to spin such talk as a Democratic plot to undermine him. Some intelligence community officials believe that Trump's hostility might be based on a misunderstanding. The intelligence community is not saying that Vladimir Putin won the election for Trump, one official told CNN on Wednesday. We're saying they did a series of things to sow doubt, and some people think they wanted Trump to win, but no one has ever said they got into the mechanics of the ballot boxes. If it lingers, the bad feeling between the president-elect and the spies he will soon command could also have a corrosive impact on the analysts and agents who do America's most secret work. There will be fears for morale, especially among those who serve in covert missions in hostile foreign theaters with only a promise of a star on the CIA's memorial wall if they are killed. CNN intelligence analyst Phil Mudd, who worked in counterintelligence for the CIA, warned that Trump risked badly damaging his credibility. Who enters a management relationship dissing the entire workforce before they even meet not only the workforce but talk to the leadership of the workforce?